I didn't cry. I didn't scream. I just stood there in my mother's kitchen, watching my sister-in-law Jennifer arrange champagne flutes on the marble counter, and I knew exactly how this day was going to end. "Oh, you're here," Jennifer said, not looking up. Her Cartier bracelet caught the afternoon light. "I wasn't sure you'd actually come." "It's Mom's 60th birthday," I said quietly. "Of course I came." She glanced at me, her eyes sweeping over my simple navy dress. "I suppose someone has to help with the setup." I was 32 years old, and in my family's eyes, I was still the girl who couldn't do anything right. "My name is Rachel Morrison. At least, that's what my family calls me. To the 12 companies I consult for across the Northeast, I'm known as R. Sutton, after my grandmother's maiden name. The same grandmother who told me, 2 days before she died, 'Don't let them make you small, Rachel. Especially not your own blood.'" The party was being held at my parents' house in Greenwich, Connecticut, the same house I'd grown up in, back when it was just 4 bedrooms instead of 7. My younger sister Ashley breezed in through the French doors. "Rachel, I didn't know you were coming. I thought you'd be too busy with your little freelance thing." "I cleared my schedule," I said. "That must be nice. Having such a flexible calendar. Marcus and I barely have time to breathe between the practice and the new house renovation." Marcus had joined Dad's practice right out of medical school, the golden son. Meanwhile, I'd turned down Dad's offer to manage the practice's billing department because I'd wanted to study operations management. That decision 7 years ago was still the family's favorite disappointment. "How's the apartment hunt going?" Ashley asked. "Mom said you're still renting in Stamford?" "I like where I am. At your age, though." She wrinkled her nose. "Jennifer and Marcus just closed on a summer place in Martha's Vineyard." Mom swept in then, elegant in cream silk. "Rachel, sweetheart. You made it." She hugged me, and for a moment I let myself believe the warmth was real. "I need your help with something. The seating chart is a disaster." She led me to the dining room, where place cards were scattered across the extended table. 18 seats. "I'm having trouble with the arrangement," Mom said. "We have the Hendersons, the Chens, Dad's partner and his wife, Marcus and Jennifer, Ashley and Tyler, your aunts and uncles." I waited for my name. "I thought maybe you could help me figure out where to put everyone." "Where am I sitting?" I asked. Mom blinked. "With 18 people at the main table, I thought you wouldn't mind eating with the caterers in the kitchen. You always said you preferred quiet anyway." Something cold settled in my chest. "You're seating me in the kitchen." "Don't be dramatic, Rachel. It's just that everyone else is coupled up, and the conversation will be mostly about business and weddings. You'd be bored anyway." "I see. You understand, don't you?" I understood perfectly. I'd understood for 7 years, every time they forgot to include me in family photos. Every time Dad talked about his children and somehow only mentioned 2 of them. But I smiled. I nodded. Because I had a plan that none of them saw coming. Guests started arriving at 6. I watched from the kitchen doorway as Dad worked the room, his arm around Marcus's shoulders, introducing him as my son, my partner, the future of Morrison Medical. I watched Ashley show off her ring. I watched Jennifer hold court about her charity board position. No one asked where I was. At 7, Mom called everyone to dinner. I stayed in the kitchen, picking at the plate one of the catering staff had kindly prepared for me. Through the doorway, I could hear the conversation, the laughter, the clinking of glasses. Then I heard my father's voice rise above the rest. A toast. To my beautiful wife on her 60th birthday. And to our family. Marcus, who's exceeded every expectation. Ashley, who's about to marry into one of Greenwich's finest families. We are truly blessed with successful, accomplished children. The table erupted in agreement. "You must be so proud." "I am," Dad said. "Marcus and Ashley prove that good parenting pays off. They've made something of themselves. They've built real careers, real lives." My fork stopped halfway to my mouth. Marcus spoke next. "Thanks, Dad. You showed us what real success looks like. Not everyone gets that, unfortunately. Some people just don't have the drive," Jennifer added. "They're content with simpler lives." Ashley giggled. "At least Rachel seems happy with her little consulting projects. We can't all be ambitious, right?" The table laughed. "Well," Dad said, "we love all our children, even if some took a different path." Rachel tried, in her own way. She's just not built for the kind of success Marcus has achieved. Different people, different capabilities. Mom's voice joined in. She's always been our dreamer. Some children just don't have that competitive edge. At least she's not causing us any trouble. I set down my fork. My hands were completely steady. Patricia, the catering manager, appeared beside me. "You okay, hun?" she whispered. "I'm fine," I said. Because I was. In that moment, I made a decision. I stood up, smoothed my dress, and walked into the dining room. 18 faces turned toward me. "Rachel," Mom said. "Is everything all right?" "Everything's perfect," I said. "I just wanted to say happy birthday, Mom. Before I leave." "Leave?" Dad frowned. "The party just started." "I know, but I have an early morning. Big presentation." I smiled. "Work comes first, right?" Marcus exchanged a look with Jennifer. "What presentation?" "For a client," I said simply. "But before I go, I wanted to thank you all. Tonight has been incredibly clarifying." I turned to leave, then paused. "Oh, and Dad? That advice you gave me 7 years ago, when I turned down the billing job, when you said I was throwing away my only real career opportunity? You were right. I did throw it away. Best decision I ever made." I walked out before anyone could respond. My phone started buzzing before I reached my car. Then, Ashley. I let them all go to voicemail. I sat in my Audi and drove away from that house. Away from those people who shared my blood but had never really seen me. The voicemails came in waves. "Rachel, that was so rude. You embarrassed us. Call me back." "Ashley, what was that about? You made everything awkward." "Marcus, you need to apologize. This behavior is unacceptable." I deleted everyone. 3 days passed. On Thursday morning, my phone rang. "Rachel," he said, his voice tight. "We need to talk about your behavior at your mother's party. About the disrespect you showed." "Disrespect? Interesting. Coming from you. What's that supposed to mean?" "Nothing, Dad. What do you need?" "Your mother wants you to come to dinner this Sunday. Family only. We need to address what happened." "Family only," I repeated. "Will I be eating in the dining room this time?" "Don't be childish. I'm busy Sunday." "Rachel, this isn't a request. When we call a family meeting, you show up." Something in his tone sparked a memory. The same voice he'd used when I was 24, sitting across from him in his study. "Operations management," he'd said, shaking his head. "What are you going to do with that? This degree is worthless, Rachel. You've wasted 2 years on something that won't get you anywhere." "Fine," I said now. "I'll be there Sunday." 6 o'clock? 5:30. Don't be late. Sunday arrived cold and gray. I dressed carefully. Not the simple navy dress from the party. Today I wore tailored black pants, a silk blouse, and the Burberry blazer I'd bought after closing my first 6-figure consulting contract. I left my hair down, put on the pearl earrings my grandmother left me, and drove to Greenwich. Mom answered the door. "Rachel, come in." The dining room table was set for 5. Marcus and Jennifer sat on one side, Ashley and her fiancé Tyler on the other. Mom and Dad at the heads. A single chair left for me, isolated. "Sit down," Dad said. I sat. "We need to discuss what happened," Mom began. "Your behavior was completely inappropriate. You left in the middle of the party, made a scene, and haven't apologized." "You're right," I said. "I haven't." Marcus leaned forward. "This isn't like you. To be so selfish, so attention-seeking. Mom's birthday was supposed to be about her, not your feelings." "Interesting perspective." "We're worried about you," Jennifer added. "You seem unstable. Maybe you're under too much stress with your work situation." "My work situation," I repeated slowly. "We know it's been hard," Mom said. "Not having a stable career like Marcus. Scrambling for freelance projects. Still renting at your age. It's understandable that you might feel inadequate." Ashley nodded. "We're not trying to be mean, Rach. We just want you to accept reality. Not everyone can be successful like Marcus." I looked at each of them. My father, who'd called my degree worthless. My mother, who'd seated me in the kitchen. My brother, who'd never asked what I actually did. "Is that what you all think?" I asked quietly. "That I'm a failure?" Dad hid. "Rachel, this isn't about failure. It's about being realistic about your limitations. You're not Marcus. You don't have his drive, his intelligence. That's okay. But you need to stop acting like you're on his level. Stop pretending you're something you're not, Marcus added. I nodded slowly. You're right. I do need to stop pretending. Mom looked relieved. I'm glad you're seeing sense. I need to stop pretending that this family sees me as anything other than a disappointment. I need to stop pretending that being hidden in the kitchen is normal. I need to stop pretending that your opinion matters anymore. Dad's face darkened. Rachel, I'm not finished. 7 years ago, you told me my degree was worthless. You offered me a job managing billing because you felt sorry for me. I was trying to help you, Dad said. No, you were trying to make me fit your vision. And when I said no, you decided I was a failure. All of you did. Because you are failing, Marcus said bluntly. Look at your life, Rachel. You're 32, renting an apartment, bouncing between consulting gigs. If that's not failure, what is? I smiled then. Really smiled. You want to know what I do, Marcus? I'm sure you're going to tell us, Jennifer said with an eye roll. I'm a senior logistics consultant. I specialize in supply chain optimization. I work with 12 companies on retainer. My smallest contract is $180,000 annually. I bill between $250 and $400 per hour. The table went very quiet. That's impossible, Marcus said. You're lying. I pulled out my phone, opened my email, and turned it toward them. This is from Mitchell and Associates in Hartford. Contract renewal for 2 years at $340,000 annually. I swiped to the next email. Barton Logistics in Boston. $420,000 over 18 months. Dad's face had gone pale. I don't understand. Because you never asked. I pulled up another email. Grayson Medical Supply Group. Restructuring project. They paid me $780,000. Mom's hand went to her throat. That can't be real. Last year's income was just over $2. $1 million. This year I'm on track for $2. $4 millions. The silence was deafening. Marcus's mouth opened and closed. Over $2 million a year? Give or take? The year before was only $1. $8 million. But I'd taken 3 months off to travel. I don't believe you, Jennifer said weakly. I pulled up my banking app and showed them the balance. Then my investment account. Then my savings. Ashley actually gasped. As for the apartment I rent, it's a 2,200 square foot penthouse in Stamford with floor-to-ceiling windows. I pay $6,800 a month. I could buy a house tomorrow, but I prefer the flexibility. I looked at my father. You were wrong about my degree, Dad. You were wrong about my career. You were wrong about everything. His jaw clenched. If this is true, why didn't you tell us? Because you never asked. In 7 years, not one of you has ever asked me about my work. You assumed I was failing because I didn't follow your path. But the birthday party, Mom said weakly. You didn't say anything. You sat me in the kitchen, Mom. You hid me away because you were ashamed. And then all of you sat at that table and laughed about how I'm not ambitious. Tears ran down Mom's face. Rachel, I didn't know. You didn't want to know. That's different. I stood up. I came here today because Dad said it was a family meeting. I thought maybe you were going to apologize. Instead, you called me here to tell me I'm inadequate. Wait, Dad said, rising. Rachel, let's talk about this. If? I laughed bitterly. You still don't believe me, even with the evidence. I believe you, he said quickly. I just need time to process this. You need time. Take all the time you need. But I'm done. Done with what? Marcus asked. With this. With all of you. I came to Mom's party because I thought family was supposed to matter. But it doesn't. Not when that family spent 7 years treating me like a charity case. Not when my own father toasts his successful children and doesn't include me. That's not fair, Ashley said. We didn't know. You didn't care to know. There's a difference. I walked toward the door, then turned back. For what it's worth, I forgive you. Because holding on to anger would only hurt me. But forgiveness doesn't mean reconciliation. I'm not coming back. I'm not attending holidays. I'm done being treated like a second-class family member. Rachel, please, Mom said. Don't do this. I'm not doing anything. I'm just accepting what you've been showing me for years. I don't fit in this family. And I'm okay with that now. I left. No one followed me. My phone exploded over the next few days. Marcus called 6 times before leaving a voicemail. Rachel, I'm sorry. I was an ass. Can we talk, please? Ashley sent a long text about jealousy and feeling small next to me. Jennifer sent flowers with a note. I was cruel. I'm sorry. Mom left tearful voicemails begging me to come home. Dad sent an email at 2 a.m. Subject line: I was wrong. Rachel, I have been a terrible father. I made assumptions about your life based on my narrow definition of success. I dismissed your achievements because they didn't look like what I expected. I told you your degree was worthless when I should have supported your dreams. I am deeply, truly sorry. Please call me. I read them all, but I didn't respond. 2 weeks later, Ashley showed up at my apartment. She stood in my doorway, looking smaller than I'd ever seen her. Can I come in? I stepped aside. She walked into the living room, taking in the floor-to-ceiling windows, the custom furniture, the original art. This is beautiful. Thank you. We sat on opposite ends of my sofa. I'm getting married in 4 months, Ashley finally said. I'm supposed to be asking you to be a bridesmaid. Are you? I don't know. Would you say yes? I don't know either. She nodded. Rachel, I was horrible to you. We all were, but I was old enough to know better. Why did you do it? Ashley was quiet for a long time. Because it was easier than examining my own life. It was easier to point at you and say, at least I'm not like Rachel, than to ask myself if I was actually happy. Are you happy? She smiled sadly. I'm 28, getting married to a man my parents chose, moving into a house his parents helped buy, working at a job my dad got me. Until 2 weeks ago, I thought that made me successful. And now? Now I look at you, and I realize you're the bravest person I know. You walked away from the easy path. You built something entirely your own. Tears slipped down her cheeks. I'm not asking you to forgive me. I'm just asking you to believe that I'm sorry. I reached out and took her hand. I believe you. Will you come to my wedding? I don't know yet, but ask me again in a month. She nodded. Thank you. After she left, I stood at the windows, looking out at the sound. My phone buzzed. An email from a client. A text from my friend Sarah about dinner. My life, full and complete and entirely mine. My phone buzzed again. My father. Rachel, he said when I answered. I wasn't sure you'd pick up. I almost didn't. I've been doing a lot of thinking. He paused. I called Tom Grayson at Grayson Medical Supply. I've known him for years. I told him my daughter had mentioned working with him. My heart started beating faster. He talked for 45 minutes, Rachel. About how you restructured their entire operation. About how you saved them $12 million in the first year. About how you're the most brilliant strategic mind he's ever worked with. Dad's voice cracked, and I realized I had no idea who you are. What you've accomplished. I've been living 3 miles away for 7 years, and I didn't know my own daughter. No, I said softly. You didn't. I want to. If you'll let me. I want to know you, Rachel. The real you. I don't know if I can do that, Dad. I understand. But will you think about it? I'll think about it. That night, I wrote an email to my family. I appreciate the apologies. I believe you're sorry. But sorry doesn't undo 7 years of being invisible. Sorry doesn't erase the birthday party where I was hidden in the kitchen. Sorry doesn't rebuild trust that was broken piece by piece. I'm not saying never. I'm just saying not now. I need time to figure out what kind of relationship I want with people who assumed the worst of me for so long. In the meantime, I'm okay. I have work I love, friends who value me, and a life I'm proud of. I don't need this family to validate my choices anymore. But maybe, someday, we can build something new. Until then, please respect my space. I sent it and felt something loosen in my chest. 3 months later, I went to Ashley's wedding. Not as a bridesmaid, but as a guest. I wore a stunning emerald dress and sat in the back row. At the reception, Dad approached carefully. You look beautiful. Thank you. Would you dance with me? Just one dance? I looked at him. He'd aged. New lines around his eyes. Gray at his temples. One dance, I agreed. As we moved across the floor, he said, I started reading about operations management. I'm taking a course, actually. I wanted to understand what you do. I pulled back to look at him. You're taking a course? I'm a terrible student. But I'm trying. I'm trying to understand the field my daughter excels in. The field I once called worthless. Something in my chest cracked open. Just a little. That means something. Thank you. Thank you for giving me a chance to try. The dance ended. I hugged him briefly, then moved away. It wasn't forgiveness. Not yet, but it was a start. Marcus found me at the bar. Can we talk? We stepped onto the terrace. I was threatened by you, he said. All those years. I was threatened by how smart you were, how different. So I diminished you. I made you small so I could feel big. I know. He nodded. Jennifer and I are in therapy. Turns out, we have issues to work through. She's not a bad person. She just came from money and never had to prove herself. And now? Now she's learning. We both are. I'd like to have coffee sometime. Really talk. About who you actually are, not who I assumed you were. Maybe. In time. I'll wait. I left early, driving home through the quiet Connecticut night. When I got home, I poured wine and stood at the windows, looking out at the lights reflecting off the water. My grandmother's voice echoed. Don't let them make you small, Rachel. I wasn't small anymore. I'd never been small. I'd just been surrounded by people who needed me to be. But I'd walked away. I'd chosen myself. I'd chosen my path, my success, my life. I didn't need them to see my worth. I'd seen it all along. The rest would come in time. Or it wouldn't. Either way, I would be okay. Better than okay? I would be free.